For those that don't know, this is Kevin Endicott.
Wow, what an introduction.
Oh, man. I love this shirt, Kevin.
Flip the Cynic.
Yeah, I got one too. Okay, go ahead.
I've got another one around here for other things. But anyway, welcome to, I guess, the first video that's going to go on hashtag Restoring Our Country YouTube blog. Yeah, I might do that quite a bit, especially whenever I get to talking quite a bit. But anyway, we're going to start this off on a fun note with sending a shout out to the idiot in the White House, Mr. Donald J. Trump, the fake president, the impeached president, whatever you want to call him. Because apparently yesterday he decided that he wanted to put a tweet out that told the governor of California that he wanted to take better care of your homeless, or the federal government will get involved. Okay, if that doesn't scare the daylights out of anybody, nothing will. Because first and foremost, he tries to make it out that California has the worst homeless population in the country. Even though it does hold a quarter of the country's homeless in one state, actually the worst area is Washington, D.C. California is number 5 on the list, with New York above them. So his assumptions of California being so bad is absolutely, well, like he is stupid. Anyway, that's why I wanted to create this video, was trying to stay calm so I don't get too upset and too passionate, so that way everybody can be able to understand. Trump's basic logic is to use the police to get the homeless out of their encampments, and he wants to use prisons and empty prisons and empty federal buildings to shelter them. Actually, I'll give him credit. That's not too bad of an idea, because that would actually save money for the federal government. But the problem is the fact that he wants to use the police to round them up and put them in a place where they can't be seen. Does this sound like another policy of his that sounds familiar? Not going to bring ICE or immigration into this conversation at all. No, I wouldn't do that at all. But yeah, actually I am. Because that's exactly what he's doing to all the immigrants and asylum seekers, is he's rounding them all up and putting them in a place. The problem with this is using those facilities would be absolutely amazing, in my opinion. But since we all know how Donald Trump likes to work and what he does, he does everything for profit. So I have no doubts that there will be for-profit organizations that he puts in charge of all these places, round them up, put them in there, and now being homeless is now making money for-profit businesses, because they'll use them for cheap labor, because of course he's going to make homelessness illegal. Most of the laws, especially in red states, are already that way. As an example, way back in the day, when you went and bought a brand new dog and you didn't have a fence in your yard and you didn't want to put up a fence, you had a dog, you had a collar that was considered a shock collar, so that way however far the dog went, you could set it up to where once he reached so many feet, that shock collar would send a shock and that dog would stop. Okay, y'all know that concept. That concept is used for homeless. It's actually used for a lot more of our inequalities in our classes and in our society today. But I'm going to use this example for the homeless. The dog is the homeless person. The collar, the shock collar, are laws. And the line that they can't cross is that invisible little line that every time the dog tries to cross it, gets shocked. What I'm saying is, whenever you're in a town that has, especially red states, notorious in Republican states to do this, is the fact that you have a bad side of town. Every city has one. What they do is, while they're there, they let the homeless run free. Let them do whatever they want. Don't crack down on them as hard. I mean, come on, I'm in Missouri. We don't even have medical marijuana legalized yet. But yet there are sections in, example, Springfield, Missouri, that you can walk around outside, walk right by a cop with a marijuana cigarette in your mouth, and the cops will not do nothing. But you reach from the north side to the south side, where the money's at, and that same person tries to do that, they will crack down. They will arrest them. They will arrest homeless people for trying to hold up signs to ask for money. They will they'll arrest people just for jaywalking. They're using the laws as the shock. So therefore, homeless people know, okay, well, as long as I stay on this bad side of town, out of sight, out of mind, I'm free to do what I want. But as minute as I cross this line here, then I'm going to start getting in trouble. That's the Republican way of doing things. And to bring back to the shelter idea, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to give them all sorts of freedoms in the rundown penitentiaries or the abandoned facilities. Give them total freedom to do whatever they want, live however they want to live, which is perfectly fine. But as soon as they cross a certain point, they're going to start cracking down on every minute law. And the reason why they'll do that is because as soon as they do that, then they can arrest the homeless person, give them a ticket, which they can't afford. So they're going to end up having to go to court and work out some sort of community service deal to where now certain organizations are getting free labor. Does that sound like any familiar thing that's happened, like say back in the 1860s or 1870s, whenever they finally decided to free the slaves? After they freed the slaves, what did they do? They turned around and arrested them for silly, stupid, and sometimes made up crimes, and then took them and put them right back into the fields wherever they were working. It's that loophole in the 13th Amendment, and that's what they're setting up for. He's not going to try to benefit from them, because their motto is out of sight, out of mind. Because he won't tell anybody anything further of what he's doing. But yet his advisor that he has for the housing committee, I believe it is, says that we are accommodating, or we are contributing to the problem by giving them money, because 93% of the homeless people use the money to buy drugs. Okay, first and foremost, I want to know where that idiot got his statistics, because there are no statistics truly on how homeless people spend their money. But I will tell you, roughly 5.5 years of experience living on the streets, homeless in 4 different states, the fact that when homeless people get their money, I'm not going to deny it, some of them do buy drugs, but a lot of it goes to food, a lot of it goes to cheap $20 a night motels, so that way they can have a nice little bed to sleep in instead of a hard cot at a shelter, a private bathroom, a private shower, and a TV that they can watch for the night. That's what a lot of the homeless do with the money. Plus, they'll also go and through the thrift stores and buy them better clothes, blankets, this, that, try to do anything. My solution is simple. My solution was to actually take an old rundown shopping mall, not being used. They're always on the bad side of town because no business wants to be over on the bad side of town. There's no money to make. They're big enough. But like I said, I'll give credit where credit's due. That would actually cost the government money to be able to purchase those buildings from the owners. By using rundown penitentiaries and abandoned federal buildings, the government already owns them. That saves money right there. Perfectly fine. They're still big enough to be able to house everything that you need and to be able to do everything that you need. But the federal government, along with state government, they all have programs in place that will benefit. The problem is you don't go out there and tell the homeless that these benefits exist. Mm-hmm. So if they don't know they exist, how can they take advantage of them? But what you can do is you can put, for example, free clinics, free dental, free eye, clothing stores, job placement centers. Heck, for the homeless children in the area, you could even set up a school inside that area. You can provide all these functions, and then on top of it, you cannot throw money, a lot of money, at a situation like homelessness when we are individual people. Each individual person has a different need. So what you simply do is you bring the caseworkers that you can have, bring the caseworkers to the facility, and you sign them like they did back when I was in high school. We had 4 counselors. The first one was A through whatever. The next one was, you do the same thing with the homeless. If your name is whatever, John Smith, then you're going to be with this counselor because your last name starts with an S. Plain and simple. And then that person can sit there and evaluate you. That counselor can can determine, because yes, of course, 70% of all homelessness are mentally ill in some way. So now you're expecting to have the mentally ill be able to try to take care of themselves. Well, if they could take care of themselves to begin with, they wouldn't be homeless in the first place. A lot of these people have just lost hope. I know I did. Damn near died actually I did die on the table and brought back to life because I decided to end it all with a bunch of pills and alcohol. But luckily I had support. Some of these people don't have support. So now I'm starting.
Do we want to keep it under 15, or are we just going to just let it go?
Let's just keep going.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
People want to watch it all, they can watch it all, or they can stop and pause it, and then they can do whatever and come back and finish watching it later.
All right.
I haven't bored them to death by then.
Well, I tell you, whoever watches the whole thing, I swear I will love them for life. This is important. Go ahead, bro.
It's just not. It's not even done. You can put all these places into one area, make it easier for them. And for those Republican idiots out there that sit there and think that punishment is the key in order to try to get them to straighten up, it's absolutely asinine. Do you know what homeless people say? Hey, it's 3 hots and a cot. I don't have to worry about it. Duh. Instead, try to do something productive. Try to come up with a productive solution with the money that is donated to the states from the federal government in order to make it work. Utilize that money correctly. Counselors, medical, dental, everything that you need in those penitentiaries and in the empty federal buildings like he wants to use. There's plenty of room for all of it. You could put them all in one place, so that way a homeless person who doesn't have any money, has struggles getting around town, doesn't have to go from here all the way over to this place to get this, doesn't then have to leave here and go all the way over to this place to get this. It's all in one area. Makes it simple, and guess what? You still keep your out of sight, out of mind, because now they're no longer roaming the streets. Congratulations, Republicans. I just solved your problem right there. Anyway, laws should not be there to keep us in certain areas or to keep us down or to make a profit. Law should be there to protect the citizens, even the homeless citizens. So to sit there and say that I can't sleep, or this person can't sleep on this park bench in this park, is asinine, especially when they don't have a place to go. And don't even get me started on the churches and the shelters, please. I've seen all sorts of shelters across the Midwest. Every single shelter is the same. If you want to go to a church, you have to make sure that you go to their church service and worship. I'm sorry, but I believe in freedom of religion instead of trying to force a religion down somebody's throat. If an atheist is homeless and they should still get the same accommodations as somebody that's a Christian going person to go into the same shelter and get the same treatment. It's called equality. Republicans, you might want to try it sometime. I've seen shelters turn away a single mom with children on rainy nights because they didn't have enough room. Seen it firsthand. So anybody, all haters that happen to see this and decide that they want to disagree with me, I don't get my stuff from books or from this. I'm telling you from life experiences, what I've seen, what I've lived through. And the stereotypical bullcrap, the propaganda that comes from the right, it's all lies. Homeless people do not want to be homeless. They've just lost all hope and don't know how to get back on their feet. Name one point in time in your life that you haven't needed help with something. It could be something small or big. Democrats, Republicans, Independent, I guarantee you at some point in time that somebody's needed help. Hell, the banks get help from the Republicans. They get bailed out. The CEOs and the companies get benefits all the time. It's called corporate welfare. Isn't it high time that we go away from the corporate and start helping the homeless? Because instead of a trickle-down economy, when we know that only benefits the rich, we should try a step-up economy. Start with the homeless. Because once you can get the homeless, those people that are mentally ill, on the right medication, and get them focused, you can get them jobs through job placement plans. Because the one thing that really irritates me the most is, well, they can just go out and get a job. I'm sorry. The first thing that you have to fill out on an application is your name, your address, and phone number. Guess what? Most of these homeless people only have a name. So therefore, what are they going to put on the application as far as an address and a phone number? They don't have one. And so therefore, you say, well, they could just go out and get a job. It's just not going to happen, because every business that you go to, if they've got more than 2 or 3 applications to fill the job, they are not giving it to a homeless person. They're going to give it to somebody else. First-hand experience on it. Trust me on that. So we just need a better program. Actually, let me rephrase that. We don't need better programs. We just need to use the programs that are already in place. We already have them. We just need to start using them. We need to start putting them all in one place, because I'm here to tell you, on the step-up economy, if you start with the homeless and you can get the homeless working in jobs and get them going, then that means more people are working, which means more people are making money, which means more people are spending money. And when more people spend money and more money gets circulated around in the economy, I don't know, but every economics class I've ever taken in high school and some in college was always, the more money circulating in the economy makes for a better economy. Well, if you get those people that are not working by getting and providing them the proper individual help that they need, then it helps the economy. And then when the economy is doing good, guess what? The rich are still making their damn money that we didn't have to give them a tax break to get. And the government can even make money off this. I mean, come on, you've got Section 8 housing, you've got HUD housings. You could use it as a step-up program, a graduation program. You have Senator Kamala Harris out there working and trying to double the beds for mentally ill, and working with the mentally ill. You got 70% right there in the homeless. Work with them, because then you can stabilize that. You have Bernie Sanders and Senator Sanders and Representative Omar both working for Homes for All. Guess what? You could sit there, and once these people get a job placement and they start getting a check, you could graduate for them from there straight over to a housing project that you can start building to be able to adapt and get these people, and call it RISP, RISP, Re-Entering into Society program.
Does that not already exist?
No.
You just came up with that?
I came up with that.
Oh, we might have to get that trademarked,
You
copyrighted. But go ahead.
Call it RISP, Re-Entering into Society program, instead of homelessness. Homelessness is despair and depressing, and then you're going to sit there on top of it. You already have people that have lost hope, that are depressed, that are sad, that feel like they have no life and they have no purpose. And then you're going to sit there and go, oh, you're homeless. Okay, well, let's just stereotype them with a stupid label, and let's create something positive. Say, you know what? Here's a place, and what we're going to do for you is we are going to work with you individually to get you to be re-enter into society, and to make sure that you can. But then again, there are a lot of factors that the government and our Congress would have to take place in order to make sure that our poverty level and the homeless is fixed. One, stop giving a damn about the businesses and how much we're paying employees, and raise the minimum wage to a livable wage. I mean, half the reason why our poverty and homelessness has increased is because our pay that we are getting does not match the base level for the city or the economy that we live in today. You just can't make it. So there's a lot of aspects that we need to work on together. And I'm here to tell you, you're not going to get it from a Republican. So that's why it is so important that if we want to absolutely help the people of this country, and that is the homeless, the poor, the rich, and the working class, all three, we need to turn that Senate blue. We need to retain the House and add more. We need to flip that Senate. It doesn't matter. Even if it's rigged and Donald Trump, for some strange miracle, gets reelected in 2020, if we flip that Senate and we add more to the House, damn sure guarantee you he won't be in there long. So that's why it's so important. Listen, there's some aspects of the Democratic Party, I'll be honest with you, that I don't agree with. There's a whole hell of a lot more, almost 99.9% of the Republicans' ideologies I disagree with. There is 100% of Trump Republicans' policies that I absolutely disagree with. But I picked a party that's for the people and that will benefit everybody as a whole. And the Democratic Party is the only party to do that. So, 2020, we got to vote blue no matter who. We got to flip the Senate, add to the House, so that way the people that in this country that need help get it, and get rid and get away from giving the banks bailouts, the CEOs corporate money, because we all know the reason why homeless are out of sight, out of mind is because they say it's bad for business. So therefore they push them away so that way they can't be seen. The only states that are actually trying to do any